Hey everyone, welcome back to In Layman's Terms, your go-to channel for deciphering the world of personal finance without the jargon. Today we're diving into a topic that's a fundamental building block in the world of investing. What are index funds? But before we do that, as always remember guys, life's complicated enough, but your personal finances don't have to be. Having said that, let's get started. To get started, let's talk about what funds are in general. In the world of investing, a fund is like a giant container. Instead of buying individual stocks, you invest your money into a fund, which then spreads your investment across a group of different assets like stocks, bonds, or other securities. It's like the difference between baking a cake or buying a pre-made mix. Funds provide diversification and make investing more accessible. So how are funds different from individual stocks? Well, when you buy a single stock, you're essentially owning a small piece of one company. Your fortunes rise and fall with that one company's performance. It's like having all your eggs in one basket. On the other hand, when you invest in a fund, you're spreading your risk across many companies. It's like having a basket filled with different kinds of fruits instead of just an apple. If one fruit goes bad, well, you've got others to enjoy. Now that we understand what a fund is, let's get to the main course, index funds. Index fund is a specific type of fund designed to track a particular market index. Now, what's a market index? Think of it as a scorecard for the stock market. It's a collection of stocks or bonds that represent a specific part of the market, like the S&P 500. It's called the Standard & Poor's 500. So let's take an example of an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. So it would basically track the performance of the 500 largest companies in the US. So here's how it works. Let's follow up on what we were talking earlier. An index fund takes your money and buys shares of all the companies included in that market index. So again, if you invest in an S&P 500 index fund, your money gets spread across the 500 largest companies that belong to that index. The goal of an index fund is not to beat the market, but to match it. It's like playing the average game, but that's a good thing. One interesting thing about index funds is that they don't make any active decisions. They follow a simple rule. For example, if a company's performance starts to lag and it falls out of the index's criteria, the index fund will sell that stock and buy the new ones that meet the criteria. So why are index funds so well loved by investors? Well, history speaks for itself. Over the long run, they've often outperformed many actively managed funds. Well, what are actively managed funds? I will go into more detail into this in my next video, but to give you a brief idea, an actively managed fund is basically managed by a fund manager and they individually pick stocks that they think will outperform the market. And in order to do this, they charge a higher expense ratio, which over the long run could really add up. Whereas index funds, since they're passively managed, they have very low fee or expense ratio. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have an initial amount of $10,000 today and you do a regular contribution of $500 per month. And let's say that you're making this contribution in an S&P 500 index fund, which we've historically seen to have a return of 8% annually. Doing this over the course of 20 years will make your $10,000 initial investment along with $500 per month invested over a 20 period time will result you with a value of $333,000 at the end of the 20-year period. And let me tell you guys, trust me when I say this, most of the actively managed funds over a long period of time have failed to beat this benchmark. There's an index fund for nearly every financial market in existence. In the United States, the most popular index funds track the S&P 500. However, there are several other indexes that are widely used as well. Some examples, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This consists of the 30 large cap companies, the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, which measures the investment return of the overall stock market, and NASDAQ 100, that has 100 of the largest non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. Let me give you an example. Here is the top 10 holdings of Dow Jones Industrial Average Fund. Lastly, let's touch on ETFs or exchange traded funds. These are like cousins of index funds. They work similarly but are traded on stock exchanges, just like individual stocks. ETFs offer flexibility and can be bought and sold throughout the trading day. They've become a popular choice for investors looking for a mix of the benefits of both individual stocks and index funds. Now, if you're wondering whether you should invest in an index fund or an ETF, well, every index fund has a corresponding ETF, and both of them track the same index. So both of them give you the same return. So there is no difference in terms of the return that you get out of both of these funds. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to your choice whether you want to invest in an index fund or an ETF. But keep this in mind, index funds generally have a minimum amount of money that you need to invest when you start investing, but an ETF, you can invest whatever amount you want. Alright, to sum it up, index funds are a brilliant way of investing by spreading your money across a basket of stocks or bonds rather than putting all your eggs in one basket. They offer diversification, they have no fees, and a simple investment strategy that has historically delivered solid results. And as the god of investing himself, Warren Buffett, said, if you invested in a very low-cost index fund where you don't put the money in at one time but average it over 10 years, you'll do better than 90% of the people who start investing at the same time. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found this quick overview of index funds helpful. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or any suggestions for my future videos, don't forget to comment down below. And having said that, thank you guys. But before leaving, I have one very important thing to say. Remember, as always, personal finance doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as clear as day, just like our channel's mission. And having said that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.